For this video, I wanted to make good on my promise and showcase a mono orange list. So this is going to be one that is very heavy on just bodies, right? Minions, a lot of quote-unquote token creatures, because you want to be able to flood the board. You can use them to stall, you can use them to slowly overwhelm your opponent, and in many ways this is like a half aggressive deck and a half control deck, because you can again just kind of swarm somebody if they don't have answers, or you can use your endless stream of bodies to just kind of serve as blockers as long as they don't have big things with overrun, until you just grind them out, win through attrition. Now there are some late game bombs. I'm going to go ahead and cycle down to the second half of this list, and again, like I always do, I'll put the list in the video description, but this is just pretty standard orange stuff. There is a bit of a desert package in here because I think Mardykhor is fantastic. Sandscale wurm is one of your like finishers win conditions, so is Solomon's Gale. Armageddon Angel can be a win condition as well, or just like a good old board reset, but a lot of it is just like win through grindy attrition. So when I say like a bit of a desert package, I'm not running like crazy stuff, but I am running Dust Devils early on. That'll get you some deserts down, and then you've got things like Soma, Oasis, Oil Field, the Hideout, because that'll help you just generate a ton of bodies as well. And as I said, this is really just a flood the board, just endless resources, because that's what orange does best kind of deck. And I've beat that horse to death now, so we're gonna do what we always do with this, and we're gonna go play 2 games, win or lose. Now you'll notice here I have not played this list yet. This is put together just for you, gang. I said I wanted to do a video, and so we're doing it, right? I'm just jumping right in, and we're gonna hope that we at least get 1 win, right? Like, it's 2 games win or lose. We always hope for more wins than losses, but you know, I don't always get what I want, so we're gonna go ahead and thump this. I'm so happy to be making Mythgard content because I really do love the game. I think that they've got a great core gameplay experience, and I think that, you know, there are certain things that could be improved, right? Rhino is a small team, and they hear the feedback. They're always listening, but I think that they'll get to that stuff in time. I think that the core experience for this game is just really good, and that Rhino will just be able to build on that.
Reporting.
Oh, one other thing I wanted to note. So, I'm running Disc. Now, some of you might be wondering why I'm running Disc because I'm not running Reanimator. And the answer is, I'm running Disc to show that you don't need to run this in only Reanimator. I think that many people don't give... Wow, there's a lot of cards. I don't think we need 2 parries in hand. I think that many people kind of... I don't want to put this... Like, they underestimate Disc. I think that they look at the Disc card and they see that as too much of a drawback. But what you have to remember is that with Disc... If it'll let me click on it here... you get to draw a card back when you're going back to night, right? So this discard a card to trigger day is like not the end of the world. Getting to go today also means that you can trade up, right? Hold on, I'm trying to think this. I don't think we need 2 Martys. Just trying to think through what we wanted to do here. What I mean by that is when you're running these token decks, being able to take your low value minions, something like these recruits, so on and so forth, or even like here, right? And then being able to use this to trade up with the Slayer effect is great. And then being able to kind of filter through your own cards, that's also a pretty big deal. So you do run into some of those temporary drawbacks, right? We're going to go ahead and... I think get rid of this. And then yeah, I think we're actually going to go ahead and just use the disc to kind of showcase what we're looking at here. So we're going to do this. And we're actually going to get rid of our aimless vessel. And so now that this has the slay effect, right? Like it pops up, and then this goes here, and then we can go ahead and pop this down here.
Reporting.
And that's going to make another one. And we can go ahead and pop this down here and just get that presence, right? So all of these now, because they have Slayer +1, they kind of trade up. And then when we don't need that, or if we need to draw more cards, we can always have this come back. I think that, again, people kind of get focused too much on the negative, right? That initial, like, oh, I had to discard a card. But being able to divination 2 and then draw a card when you're going back the other way means you get a lot of control over your quality, which is not to be underestimated in my opinion. Now, here I think we're going to go ahead and get rid of this to develop my good friend Marty. I like Marty. Marty seems like a nice guy. Also, you might notice I was attacking here and not directly ahead. Don't attack into deserts if you don't have to, gang. I mean, this one doesn't matter because it's not your traditional desert, but just like out of habit, unless you have to, try not to. It's just you're saving yourself the 1 damage every time you do that, and it's better to just get in the habit of not, even if you're running into one of the deserts where you're not taking damage. Ooh, that seems spicy. All right, so here we're gonna go ahead and do this because we want to draw something. We'll grab this over the recruit. Now, sadly, we did not find the desert that we were kind of hoping to find, but at least we did find a desert. I think getting this down here as opposed to developing peri is probably correct, but we could also just burn this and play peri. I think I actually want to... I've changed my mind. I think I actually just want to play peri. Because this is, again, just more cards, more resources. Orange is also a great color to utilize Disc in if you do want to use it for filtering, because there are so many ways to generate things, right? So, you know, once we add this 1/1 recruit to our hand, for example, we can use that to discard to the Disc and, you know, pretty heavily negate the drawback. There's just a lot of things that we can do, right? So, for example, we won't get the cool Swift benefit, but I think this is still fine. We can slap this down over here. Yeah, you know what? This probably should have went here, because I want to play this and then discard the other body more than anything. So that probably should have went there.
Reporting.
Oh well. We'll go ahead and do this, and then, like I said, we can get rid of the 1/1. It's not a big deal. But yeah, that was a bit of a play mistake because I should have been adding something else. Excuse me. That was multiple play mistakes in one turn. It's good to know that Papa Charm has not let you down in that regard. So as much as I talked about, like, hey, here's this cool thing to do, don't do what I just did. So let's take a moment to highlight the play mistakes that I just made. Number 1, this needed to be here, so that, or here. Actually, this should have just went here, develop this body here, and then I would have got a free 3/2 from it. The next issue with what I did, okay? I gave the infuse buff to this, but then we flipped over to the knight, which means it wasn't needed. Like, I didn't have to do that. So we just got boned, right? Like, I basically cheated myself out of 1 extra damage. I mean, this is just a big body. We could just blow it up with this, I suppose. But then we don't have our board reset. But we don't have another good way to get through this. Because in order to use this here, it also then flips. So yeah, I guess that's what we're gonna do. Guess we'll just do this. I guess we'll just do this. Doesn't feel great though. Because they'll have like a million ways to kind of block us. They're doing that just to make more bodies and because they want to do the divination. Alright. So we're fine with doing this because again, this is the Slayer, if you will. So unless they have a way to remove this trades even. Then because this also creates the desert when he attacks in, they'll take 1 damage from that as well. So that's kind of what you're shooting for with that interaction. We gotta hope they don't have another banish card for this because this is one of our finishers. It's a big wormy worm. I'm so mad about that turn where I made multiple play mistakes. I'm gonna take a drink of coffee here and calm myself down. Oh, Marty! No matter what we do, Marty trades even with this. Oh! Unless we do that. Hello, top deck. It's so nice to do that to you, and you just did that to me. Alright, now, no way to avoid it here. We gotta take the 1 damage either way, but I think trading 6 for 1's probably fine. But hitting Mardykhor there is so beautiful because it was going to trade even no matter what we did. Even if we took away the slay, drew another card, once it died it could do 3 damage to anything. But turns out, Seal of Exile. Beautiful top deck. And we've already used the top end of our curve, right? Like Armageddon Angel is gone, so we don't have to worry about being at 7 any longer. Other than just wanting to play multiple things per turn, but
fortune favors us.
We're gonna keep making bodies. We're gonna keep trying to push damage. And unless they can play out multiple bodies here, we should be fine because we have both Swift and Teleport on this. So any open space. No! They found another Seal of Exile. How dare they? How dare they? We're so close. Like, we're trying to pressure here.
Hey there.
They're just hitting the point where they're making kind of endless bodies, and so are we. Something's got to break here eventually, though, right? So they go up to 8 because they're running Mend. So we could use our Marty to clear this out, right? Nice even trade. And then we'll go from there. Yeah, I guess that's fine. I was trying to decide if I wanted to hit them, but we don't really have a good follow-up. So again, just trying to keep the board clean makes the most sense. Let's actually do this first. Because we also want to take the divination. Because that'll tell us what's going to be on top. right? And so we can put this on top, and then we can go ahead and do this.
Hey there.
Which will then draw us the regulars. Now this goes down 1 energy whenever our opponent draws a card. So getting it up to that brand is actually more difficult than it sounds. But we're gonna try. Like, we're just hitting the point here where... Oh, interesting. They're going to do that so they can divination. We're hitting the point here where both me and my opponent are just going to flood the board with insurgents and fight it out with a bloodbath, which is kind of cute. I mean, the one downside is this will bounce back to my hand, so I'm going to have to replay it, but at least it'll be free. Don't eat my Martys. How dare you? Alright, so kind of the same concept here, right? We want to do this. And we want to divination here because we want something on the top. Peri's a great choice for us here. Because then we can do this. And do the same thing.
Hey there.
Where we draw that peri. But then we can turn around and play peri. Which means we get to draw another card. And I guess we'll grab this one as well. And I think we'll end the turn there. So they have a lot of 3/2s, but thankfully not much else as far as the cards go. So we're really mostly just worried about their Armageddon Angel that we know they are likely running. Yeah, so the insurgents come down now. Alright, so we'll go ahead and do this. I think we just want more bodies on top. I think that makes the most sense. We'll have this go here. Just trying to decide if I want to flip to do the divination and draw a card here or not. I think the answer is potentially no. It means I take less damage here though, so I don't think that matters. Though even if it takes 3, it still trades over the course of 2 turns, which ultimately feels pretty bad. Kind of the same thing here. I'm not really trading into that. I think instead what we're really wanting to do is something like this and this.
System stable.
And end the turn. It's gonna just be one of those long, grindy games.
Hey there.
So that's interesting because this did not draw them a card. So the top card is not a minion. So it could be another temptation, could just be another desert enchantment actually. Could be one more seal if they run the full complement. that's going to make that trade there. Let's go ahead and do the divination. We definitely want to be drawing that.
Glory eternal.
I think we want to trade this here as well. And just do this.
Eternal.
I'm kind of purposefully not making this trade because if we can get this to brand status that actually benefits us, and because it's warded until they trade into it, it's protected from Armageddon Angel. Like, it stops me from making insurgents, but we haven't been playing insurgents anyway. Like, those are our plan when we stop drawing good cards. But it hasn't really been too much of an issue for us. Interesting, they went up to 10. What do they want at 10? Something costs 4? Oh, no, just that plus all of the insurgents. Okay. That answers that question for us. But again, overall, not really a big deal as far as we're concerned. We can keep this board tampered down pretty well. Alright, that helps protect us there. I think this is a turn where we're definitely developing Solomon's Gale as well. Question is just where. We definitely want to top deck Marty. I think we want the big boy here.
System stable.
So go ahead and take this demise as well. And we'll just drop some recruits down. Yep, here seems fine.
Reporting.
We'll have plenty of cheap bodies to drop there. I know that I said I wanted to develop this, but the more I thought about it, the more just keeping bodies down puts us in a winning position. Because we've finally hit the point where we've almost actually out-grinded our opponents, as weird as that sounds, right? Like, in this insurgent grind fest, I think we've hit the tipping point. Because we really want this to be able to attack, so. But also, look at this, right? Like, oh, they got saved. At the end of their turn, they drew an enchantment. I was so excited to use the brand. All right, Oasis is fine. Just again, I'm gonna fully protect this.
Do we have a mission?
Alright. I was just really excited for our brand, you know? We need this to not trigger again. So we know one of these is an enchantment. I was so excited, man. Alright, so they have an enchantment and then something that they want to develop here. Alright, we can live with all of what's happening. It did it again. Stop denying me my brand. Well, if we want Marty to live here, and we do, we actually have to attack in with this finally. Did I miss? Oh! Oh, they deal 2 less damage. Ah. I missed that they replaced that. I was still so hung up on the brand. Wasn't that disappointing? I guess Marty's dying. I guess we made another play mistake. I guess Marty's dying no matter what. Let's just do it. Oof. So frustrating. We just need more insurgents in my life, I guess.
Do we have a mission?
All right, can we just not draw an enchantment with Rainbow's End at the end of this turn so that I can make a brand, okay? I don't even care if I win this game at this point. And we're getting pretty close to losing because they have mend and we don't, and all this desert stuff is kind of wrecking our face. Just non-stop taking damage. I should probably pay attention to that. But I want this brand. I need this brand in my life. So please, person on the other side. They didn't do it. Alright, we get to make the brand. We did it, gang. Alright, so this will go here. At this point, like, the Slayer thing, not really helping us out. So this is actually one of those times where we want to do this. Let's actually grab this. That seems pretty good. It hurts so much taking all that damage all the time. Let's do that. Do I really want to also take 1 more damage here to push 2 damage? Yeah. Let's do it. It's a 2 for 1. Let's shuffle this back. Like we're close to winning here. They only have the 1 card. So like we're taking damage, but cost 5 or less. Yes. There we go. After all that, didn't even get to make use of my oil field to play all of our 3/2s, but it doesn't matter. The point here is we got to use our brand. I made play mistakes, and I kind of zoned out there at the end because I was getting a little bit tilted over the fact that I couldn't get my brand to go off, but we did it. Also, that's just 1 game, right? That's just 1 game. This orange list might be a little bit grindy. But that's okay. We're going to try it again. As I'm recording this, I'm supposed to be streaming right now. That actually went so long, I expected to be done by now with 2 games. Oh. It's okay. Hope you all appreciate this. I said I was going to do an orange list, and I'm doing it. Alright, this is actually a pretty good opening hand for us overall. Like, we don't need the 2 oil fields, so one of those will be burned right away, but we have recruit into ghul, into regulars, into scion, into Marty, with maybe an oil field there. This is all good things, all good things. Like, don't sleep on oil field, gang.
Reporting.
Alright, so we are likely playing against reanimator, just as an FYI. When you see somebody burn green and they are also running disc, you just have to assume that you're running into somebody playing reanimator. So there also goes the necromantic. So this is going to be a fatty discarded. There's the beast, which is again why ghul here is so important. Well, at the rate things are going, so we actually have a couple of natural answers here. Ghul will be able to like play and activate next turn, but Scion, believe it or not, like you can turn their thing into your 4/4, and that's completely relevant as well. I know we could play Ghul this turn, but we're actually going to just play our Parsa recruit here. So I'm trying to decide. As much as I like oil field, you want that later when you got a handful of more things. So we're going to do this.
Do we have a mission?
You need to make sure that you get this Ghul activation on that first Indrik beast. So like this is going to be a necromantic coming down, right? Like just no question about it. You know it's coming. It's just what you expect in this matchup every time. But this is my favorite. So my favorite. This is when you drop the Ghul. And you eat their guy. And then you make the trade. And it just feels so good. It just feels so good. Also, keep in mind, this is not just anti-reanimator tech. Like, this card is just good in general. You should be running this if you're running orange. Like, I know it's a rare, so maybe you don't own it. But outside of that, if you're running orange, you should be running ghul. It's a good stat line. It's a useful ability. You can manipulate your own discard pile as well. Like if you're running Journey of Souls, it can help you get rid of things you don't want to draw back. It's great against Reanimator. The fact that it just heals also means good combat tricks. Yeah, they led astray my ghul. I think it's safe to say they were not happy, not impressed. This is a tough call because we want to get this up and running sooner rather than later. But we also have all these big bodies, these big boys. But I think this is correct. Let's do this. Oh, I forgot to use this divination. So that was a bit of a mistake. It's interesting that we have both night and day running right now because of the nature of the discs. Alright, so they're gonna just go ahead and draw 3 cards because we took the low tempo play. Yeah, not using the divination hurt a lot. No question about it. We should just be further along on our energy. But I guess if there was a time for me to make a play mistake, that was the turn, because we would have used it and then it would have been negated anyway once they draw 3 cards. So, you know, I guess no harm, no foul. Never punished, as they say. But the good news is we have a decent board. Now they could drum up some answers, right? Like even though we have the warded guy, like Misanthropia is still a card. Always something we have to worry about as we do our best to just flood the board endlessly. I think this next turn, there's a strong chance that we will develop peri. Alright, so that's a necromantic that will get back a necromantic. I think the recruiter is probably better than the hideout right now. We're not needing the bodies. We don't want this taking more damage than it needs to, since it needs to run over those snakes more and more. So what we're actually going to do here is use our ability and discard our Dust Devil. Oh, right. Sorry, them being on day and me being on day was really throwing me there. Well, then instead we used it on the wrong thing. Man, I am so full of play mistakes tonight. This is something else, gang. I gotta get my stuff together here. Go ahead and do that.
Fortune favors us.
Interesting. Let's take the Marty. Feel bad because I'm basically roping that person, but we're just trading necromantics forever. That's okay as long as it's not something big. That was the only temptation for taking the ghoul that last turn. But they weren't in a position where they had to discard, so. There's the misanthropia. But we made him use it. And they're gonna get nothing out of this as well. So that works out relatively well for us.
Hey there.
Let's go ahead with this just to see what we draw. It's another vessel. Okay. We'll burn this vessel and play the other vessel then. Because that was basically what I wanted to play.
Stable.
Because I want to get us into a position where Marty can clear the snake and then we can push damage. Like, that's the goal here. Oof. That does not help in our endeavor, though. Alright, so let's go ahead and let our good friend Marty do Marty things. And grab the gale here, I guess. Ouch. What a good wonder drug for them. What a good wonder drug for them. We're so close. Like, we're just pushing, and they keep stalling. Like, we know we have more fatties in there to deal with, but we're sitting on at least the seal. If we can get this up and running, this is pretty solid just because of the overrun. It's a good way to deal with the snacks. This is a close game. I mean, we endured the early Necromancer combo. We endured a Misanthropia thus far. And we're still doing our best to push through this here, so... Well, they burned. They're going up. Up, up, and away. So they say. Alright, so in this instance... we just push the damage, I think, and develop Gale. I'm just worried about... I'm worried about Sapo or like a big Stomp Howler or something, but there's not a lot we can do about him, so... Because they went up to 8 for a reason. And this is very clearly a deck that's running some big boys. Some big boys and girls. Of course they're exactly at 7. They got perfect value from both their wonder drugs. Well, at least both of those are out of the way. Vicious Cycle, fair. I guess that's good to casually hold on to as well. Alright. So far so good. So they're on day, so there's nothing I can do with the slay thing here, right? Like, this is gonna get its damage in no matter what. I guess that Marty can do that. Like, this is the best we got. It's so annoying because we just still have to deal with endless snakes for stall. But we needed to reposition, and by not attacking, like, we get at least the heal effect, so that then we can maybe trade into this snake over here to allow our right side to try to push. Alright, I think we have this. So the trick here is this trade's here. Right? Oh no, we can't temptation it because it costs 6, not 5. Dang it. Well, I thought we had it. Alright, so that trade's there. We gotta ditch one of our vessels so that we can push more damage. And then I guess develop another one. It's the best we got for now. Yeah, I forgot. The real issue was that it was Twin Blanc specifically. Because this is the 5 health one, but it costs 6, and the other one technically costs 0, so we could have temptation to the other one, but we still needed to push through that one. I probably did that wrong. I think if I had taken that trade here sooner, and then like changed how I pushed to the damage, I think I had lethal there. Like, I'm almost positive now that I'm thinking through my sequence that I could have still had lethal if I just would have planned on stealing the one that technically has a 0 cost. Like, we could have just flipped and this could have traded in, but then these Actually, this one. Like, we could have flipped. This one would have traded here. With the Slayer, it would have done the 5. Then when we bring it over, after the trade's over here, these two would have been enough to push for the 9. Yeah, I missed lethal. Man. All sorts of play mistakes tonight. I need more coffee, is what the real issue is. See, it turns out when you guys become a parent, you're going to learn that when your kids keep you up all night, it's really rough to think the next day. And my youngest, Monroe, for like the last 3 nights in a row, has pretty effectively kept me awake. Oh, that might be beneficial. What would we get back? Just an eager recruit. How sad. But it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. GG. We forced it through. So, anyway, if you're struggling against Reanimator, hopefully this at least gives you an idea of how to pilot against that list. Just do it with far less play mistakes. Do not do what I just did. Just because I won does not mean that everything I did was okay. This has been a rough night. And like I said, I'm supposed to go stream after this. Like, I'm literally going to end the video, take a short break, and start streaming. So I'm sure this will go wonderfully. But anyway, if you made it this far through this marathon, I love you. I appreciate you. Thanks for watching the videos, putting up with my massive play mistakes. Maybe after I get some sleep and more coffee, I'll be better equipped. But anyway, hope to see you in future videos.